Do you have loose threads when you're making potholders? We're going to talk about it, how to reduce them before you start.
Hi there. For people making potholders with the loops, cotton loops, I have some here from Friendly Looms from Harrisville, and most of the time they're in pretty decent shape. But do you ever find some with long strings on it? Things that you know that when you make your potholder, these are going to stick out. You're going to have to cut them off later. I prefer cutting them off before I start. And in general, there is, if you look at this, there is one beginning thread on one side and another ending thread somewhere on the other side. So if you can find those two beginning and ending threads and cut them off, which I just did one of, and this one over here, this one, look how fuzzy that is. Look at all the threads hanging out over here. You want to get rid of some of those. So what you can do is just pull them a little bit and cut off the beginning and end so that the loose little loops aren't hanging out. And there's the beginning thread also. So I can pull on that a little bit and trim that off. Now remember all those threads that were sticking out when we started? Very few right now. There's a little loose one over here. So if I find this one, another end, I can cut that off also. Maybe one from one I cut before, I don't know. And sometimes there's just loose pieces when they wove it. This one is going to be a problem later. So I'm cutting it off now. Okay? Does that look better? And I run my thumbnail or my thumb along that open seam here just to make sure that all of the major threads, loose threads, are gone. Does that look better? Okay. Here's one in blue. This one has elastic. This teeny little thread is elastic. And that's just kind of fuzzy. So we can cut that off. And here too, run our fingers along, looks like a loose thread here. So I'm going to pull this, and it was a beginning thread. Look at that. So if I pull that a little bit, cut it off, all those little puckery bumps are gone. I'm going to run my finger along. There has to be one on the other side somewhere, and sure enough, here it is. This is the other side. Cut that off. Does that look a lot better? Another piece of elastic. Whoops, gone. Much better. If you do that to most of your loops before you start your potholders, you'll have a lot less trouble trying to pull out threads when you're done. This one is loose. Pull that off. I've got a thread sticking out over here. Cut that off. And it looks pretty good right now. Here's one that's a little different. If you look closely, you'll see something happened when they were weaving and it didn't all catch. So you've got this gap here. Now I trimmed off this thread and there's no other thread besides maybe this one sticking out a little bit. Yeah, I'll pull that off. Now, you can decide what to do with a loop like this with a gap here. If it's miswoven, you can either toss it or you can make your potholder, weave this somewhere towards the middle, and see if you can arrange it so that another potholder loop from the other direction, put this on the warp, make sure the weft kind of covers it and that'll reinforce it. And I haven't had trouble with them afterwards. Okay? So, those are some possibilities. Good luck. Hope you have less threads hanging out. And it only takes about 5 or 10 minutes of checking them before you start to remove those problems. Good luck. Bye-bye.